Well, let's talk about guns. This is going out to all you people who like to say guns kill, guns kill. I'm sorry, guns don't kill. It's the person pulling the trigger that kills. There's no gun in the world that just jumps up on its own and shoots anybody. There's always somebody pulling a trigger, pushing a button. Just like them drones that fly over, there's somebody controlling them that pushes the button that makes them fire. So let's just knock that nonsense off, because guns don't kill. Now let's talk about welfare. I am so fed up with these people who constantly have kids living on the welfare roll, not getting out looking for a job. I think what we need to do is, if you're going to be on the welfare roll, you should have to report every morning at 8 o'clock. We got roads out here where they need ditches cleaned, grass mowed, trees cut, roads patched. You work, come Friday, you get your paycheck. 5 days a week. That money shouldn't just be handed to them. We need to knock this stuff off. If they're not working, they shouldn't be allowed to file a tax paper and get money back from the government. They didn't pay you in. They don't deserve it. And if they don't want to show up and work, well, people are going to go hungry. Not my problem, not my fault. Get up off your dead can and go to work. I don't care where you live, there's a job. If there's not a job in the area where you live, move to where there is work. Quit living off the states. Now, education. Our educational system is terrible. The teachers of today are more interested in their paycheck and days off. They got to have every little holiday on the calendar off. They got to have Martin Luther King Day off. They got to have President's Day off. They got to have this day. They got to have that day. I say, instead of taking them days off, that's a day you should be teaching them about Martin Luther King. You should be teaching them about the presidents on that day. Columbus Day, you should be teaching them. They shouldn't be at home. They should be being taught, not at home. Now let's talk about all them politicians up there in D.C. What a waste. We're headed towards a physical cliff, they said. But they had to vote themselves a $900 pay raise before they could come to an agreement. What kind of hokey stuff is this? Where'd they get that extra $900 per person if we were headed towards a physical cliff? I don't think any politician in any office should be there for more than 4 years. He should not be allowed to rerun for that office. He should be totally out of it. And when them congressmen and senators and presidents are out of office, I don't think the taxpayer people should have to pay for that Secret Service. Because anything that president knew would be no good. Because the new president come in going to change everything. He going to change all them launch codes on them missiles. So why do we have to keep that up? Then let's talk about prisons. It takes about $67,000 per year per prisoner. Since our states have gone to this privatizing deal, with outside entity run our prisons, They come in, they sell off all the farmlands, and now the prisoners, all they do is spend all their time in their cells learning to be a better criminal. I say bull. I say put 10 foot of chain between each one of them, put them out there with a hoe in their hand, raising a garden. Instead of us having to pay $67,000 a year per person, they should be making the state money, not costing. Okay? We need to get that out. This stuff needs to stop. Now let's talk about all these people who like to build their house up in the mountains, like in Colorado, up in the hills. Out in California, up in the mountains. Out in Arizona. All in places they like to build them houses up in the mountains, where they know there's a 99% chance that a forest fire's going to come through and burn their house down. And then they stand around and whine and cry about it. And what's the government do? Well, give them money to rebuild. And they rebuild in the same spot and get burned out next year. Are you that brain dead? Yeah, it's nice to be in the mountains. You want to see the mountains? Take a drive. Build your house somewhere where forest fire ain't going to come through. I'm not going to say that you build into a town, it might not burn down. Good possibility. Everything burns. Everything gets destroyed occasionally. It's like over here in New Jersey, New York. They whine and cry because their houses got blown away. That hurricane come through and took everything. They knew it was coming. Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you pack up your stuff? You heard it on the news. Hurricane's coming. But nope. You don't take nothing. And then you expect the taxpayers to pay for it all. It's enough. You want to build on the ocean? Then that's your problem. It should not become taxpayers' problem to rebuild your homes. It's like New Orleans, building your home 10 foot below the sea level. Whoever thought that was a good idea? If we don't do away with some of this stuff and quit being such mamby-pambies and saying, oh, well, them prisoners, they're already incarcerated, that's enough punishment. No, it's not. They ain't learning nothing but to be a better criminal. Oh, don't get me wrong. I've never been to prison. I was locked up one time for 4 hours. Swore to God I'd never go back. I was 18 then. I'm 50 now. I ain't been back. I learned my lesson real quick. A lot of these people are repeat offenders, never learn a thing. We need to stand up to our government and to the rest of the world and say enough's enough. Put an end to it. You want to be on welfare? There's grass that needs mowed along the road. You want to be in prison? Here's 10 foot of chain between you and the next guy and a hoe. Grow a garden. You want to be a politician? Quit ripping the United States people off. That's all you're doing when you vote yourself a $900 pay raise, is ripping us all off. And then turn around and say, well, Social Security going to run out. Social Security going to run out. Yeah, it's going to run out when you're voting yourselves a $900 pay raise every time we turn around. It needs to stop. And if there's any politicians out there that want to discuss this with me, I'd be more than glad to just let me know. It's easy to do. Just say enough's enough. If we
A vast virus database has been updated.
If we do what we're doing, we won't be in the United States very long. We're already turning into a welfare bomb country. We let every derelict in the country come here. We need to change. Enough's enough. The rest of y'all, if y'all watch this video, you need to think about it. We need to change a lot of things. We need to change how people perceive guns, how politicians do us, what we can do to change the welfare roll, how we can change the prisons. If we don't, it's a lost cause. So hope this gives people things to think about. Bye.